I don't know about you, but when I first read Yogananda's autobiography, I found his description of his guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar, to be somewhat daunting. The way that he would critique disciples in front of others, and he looked very fierce and intense. And because of that, well, I actually have some friends who are also followers of Yogananda's teachings, and after talking with them about Sri Yukteswar, I realized that they were actually afraid of him, and especially now, I find that to be a shame because of my experiences, which I'm about to share with you. Yogananda told his disciples that he had been William the Conqueror in a past life, who was a Duke of Normandy and the King of England way back in the 1000s. And he also said that his Guru Sri Yukteswar was with him in that lifetime, that he was a helper and counselor, Archbishop Lanfranc. And some years back, I went to England and I visited the Canterbury Cathedral where Lanfranc had been Archbishop. And after visiting the cathedral, I went to a place that's right outside of Canterbury that used to be a place where the priests, I think they were Augustinian priests, or they could have been Benedictine. Anyway, they took care of lepers there. And this was a foundation that was formed by Lanfranc himself. So I went to that place, and they had a little chapel there now. It's no longer a Lazar or a leper house. It's just a place where retired people live. But they still have a little chapel there. So I went into it, and it was just a little building, a nondescript building. Went inside, had a little altar there, and I sat to meditate. And after I had been there for a very short period of time, I was overwhelmed by this. I mean, the feeling was so beautiful. Um, it was so sweet. It was divine, and it was light, and it was love and joy, and it was one of the sweetest feelings I'd ever felt in meditation in my life. And it was so beautiful that I never wanted it to end. And I thought, this was Lanfranc? This was Sri Yukteswar in a past life? It was, it was quite a discovery, and I felt like I'd been let in on some really beautiful secret. And after that experience, decades later, I went to, or about a decade later, I went to Normandy and visited a couple of places that Lanfranc had lived, including a church in Caen. And while there, I had the same feeling again. It was just like, wow, this is really Sri Yukteswar's vibration, and it was so unexpected. I expected wisdom, I expected spiritual power, such a great spiritual master as Yogananda said. But what I did not expect was the sweetness. I mean, it was so wonderful. Again, I wished it would just continue forever. I could just, live forever in that vibration, be so happy. And then I remembered something that Yogananda had said. He said that Sri Yukteswar would have been one of the most sought after gurus in India if he had been not so strict and so stern. And once I had felt this vibration, I just couldn't help but agree. I mean, anyone who would feel this vibration would want, Sri Yukteswar's energy in your life, you know. And the other thing was, we also went, my wife and I, when we went to Normandy, we also went to a hermitage called Beck, which is where Sri Yukteswar lived also. And the day was in the middle of summer, and it was like 110 degrees in the sun, and it was over 100 degrees in the shade. And I have to admit, I tried to meditate. I sat for quite a while to try to meditate, but the heat was so intense I wasn't able to meditate very well. But my wife sat down in the shade and sat there for like 45 minutes and didn't move at all. And I was really impressed. But after, when I asked her what was her experience, why was she able to meditate so deeply, she said she felt Sri Yukteswar's vibration and energy, and it was so sweet. That was like nectar. And like me, she never wanted it to end. And so I'm sharing this because I think that there are a lot of followers of Yogananda who may be daunted by Sri Yukteswar's image. I wrote a book in which I delved into Lanfranc's history. And I found so many connections between him that lifetime, and the lifetime of Sri Yukteswar, 2 lifetimes of one great spiritual master. And I wrote this book in which I highlighted those connections, and I also showed important differences. Because this daunting image of Sri Yukteswar, you don't really see that as much in Lanfranc's life, or very little at all. He just shows kindness and compassion, and the sweetness sort of comes through that life. And so I wrote this book about that lifetime called Blessed Lanfranc, and it's available if you're interested to get a copy. You can get an ebook copy on Kindle, on Amazon, also on Nook and iTunes, Scribd, Kobo. And if you're interested in getting a physical copy, a paperback copy, I can, just contact me, just send me a message through YouTube, and I will send you contact information to get it. So anyway, I'm hoping this book will inspire people to tune into Sri Yukteswar more and maybe not be so daunted by him. I think once you get past the lions at the gate, it's well worth it, and I highly recommend tuning into his spirit. He's one of the great masters of Yogananda's path, and I just make this recommendation very strongly.